You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton, hanging here with you guys, talking to you a little bit today about snow plowing and snow removal. And 'tis the season, guys. We're already starting to see those white flakes up here in Michigan and even across the Midwest and the Plain States, which is ironic enough because we got none other than the man, Kory Ballard, on the phone with us, joining us from Iowa. Kory, welcome to the show. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, buddy. Glad to be on again. We've had 2 snow events already, which is pretty unique. So we've actually been out already, which is good and bad. I'll take another month of good weather. We've got a lot of work to get done, but we don't control that. So we've been doing. Yeah. Monday we had 7 inches of snow, so kind of crazy.
Holy cow! Wow, dude, it's crazy because we went up north this last weekend. We joined with the Almonds, and it was just a really good time hanging out with them. And as we kept going further north, you could just see like the leaves were thinning and then thinning more. And then about an hour or two north of that, there was snow on the ground, which was crazy. And I was getting photos from a bunch of people. It's like, hey, well, up north Michigan, we were to get like 2-3 inches of snow, and I'm like, well, that's not a good sign, you know? And then I get back home and I jump on Instagram and I see you all over Ballard Products and Ballard Innovative Products Instagram. And you're like, hey, we're dealing with 7 inches of snow. I go, wait a minute, is that coming our way? You know, so a lot of you guys that do lawn care, landscaping, a lot of you guys do snow plowing, especially if you're in the Midwest and Northeast. And actually, this is kind of a 1-2 punch. If you guys remember the podcast we did just a few weeks ago with Kory, we were talking about business partnerships and how to grow a larger company. Fantastic episode. If you guys didn't listen to that one, I really encourage you guys to go maybe about 10 or so episodes back and check that one out. One of our most well-received podcasts talking about business partnerships and what do you do if you have a friend from high school or college or, you're 25 years old and start a company together. And that's kind of Kory's story. But the other thing we wanted to piggyback on was snow plowing. You guys know that Kory runs an incredibly successful company out of Iowa called Perficut. They're in the top 150 lawn and landscape companies in North America, which is no small feat. Super exciting for them. But what they also do a lot of is snow plowing. And they do snow contracts with large universities, hospitals, strip malls. So as we go into the season, we're always trying to stay a couple weeks ahead of the curve for you guys to give you the latest and greatest. So on this episode, we're going to be talking a lot about snow plowing, and I'm going to pick Kory's brain. We're going to hear how he sets up his contracts, maybe rookie mistakes as he got into the industry, and maybe some of you guys that are just getting your first plow on. Maybe Kory can give you a couple helpful tips for bidding and so on and so forth. So let's do this really quick. We're going to kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer. We're going to hear from the show sponsors, and then we're going to come right on back.
How are you guys doing today? Thanks for hanging with us on the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. I'm Marty. I don't know if you've heard the news, but Lawntrepreneur Academy Live is sold out. Feel free, though, to check with Brian to see if any last-minute tickets become available. And congrats to all of you who got your tickets. We look forward to seeing you November the 7th. Also, just got word as we're putting together this program that the new postcard training program has arrived at Lawntrepreneur Academy, and here's those details.
You know, it sure would be nice to take our marketing and branding to the next level. Everyone always seems to have the best marketing materials, the best business cards, the best postcards. If I wasn't so busy mowing lawns all day, I'd probably have some cool designs too. I mean, where do people find the time to do all this stuff? I know I need to get new customers, and I know what I need to do. I just don't have the time to do it. I wish there was a better way. Hey guys, we wanted to make you aware of a brand new program that's now available for you guys exclusively at the LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com. Brian has now made available a brand new program, which includes 4 downloadable postcards designed to help you guys grow your business. 4 unique theme postcard templates are now available for you in a plug-and-play fashion. Simply add your company name, company logo, and phone number, and you're ready to rock and roll. These 4 designs are great for any lawn and landscaping business owner looking to take their marketing to the the next level. The training program contains a spring, summer, fall, and winter themed postcard. They're $75 each, or purchase all four for $249, a $50 savings. Take the stress and hassle out of trying to design your own templates and postcards and use these to quickly grow your business. Get them printed with Brian's preferred vendor, or take the design to your local shop to have them printed up. But now you have 4 designs that are ready to go help you immediately take your marketing and advertising to the next level. Now available exclusively at LawnpreneurAcademy.com.
Once again, we send it back to the famed Fullerton Unfiltered studio in Novi, Michigan. Here's Brian.
All right. Well, good deal, guys. We'll always appreciate Marty bringing you guys the show sponsors Monday, Wednesday, Friday, as we bring the show to you guys 3 days a week. Couldn't do it without him. And so we're shooting this podcast real time. So, Kory, before we go down the rabbit hole, in case people haven't heard your story about Perficut and then also the secondary company run Ballard Products, a lot of you guys know the Ballard Inc. products. Why don't you just maybe take a quick minute or two, get these guys up to speed? I know you're a guest of the show, returning guest, but get a lot of new listeners. And if you guys are just checking out the podcast, thanks for jumping on board. We super appreciate the support. But can you get these guys up to speed for just a quick minute or two, Kory, about what Perficut is and how long you guys have been in business and what you guys do?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So we're based in Des Moines, Iowa, and we've got a branch in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and also a branch in Omaha, Nebraska. And started just like a lot of guys do. I started at 14, just cutting grass, going door to door. And so we grew a lawn care company and over the years expanded into, lawn applications, irrigation, landscape installation, and eventually became a kind of a full service site management company and, did a lot of residential. And now today it's mainly commercial. We still have some residential services that we take care of, but, yeah, so we're a full-service company. We're actually down employees this year, not really because of COVID, but we're just getting a little bit smarter and a little more efficient. And we've had about 200 employees at our peak, and I think we're down maybe 20 guys this year. And so we run a full-service company, and snow removal is our biggest division. I think we were ranked 23rd in the U.S. last year, and
wow.
I just say that not to be braggadocious about it. It's just we really take our snow removal and ice management serious. My business partner, Matt Bowman, is, sat on the board of the, snow committees and talked a lot about safety. And we've been really on the cutting edge, I think, of really changing the snow industry. When we started doing snow, like a lot of guys, snow removal was something we did to keep our employees busy in the winter. And a lot of guys do that. How do I keep my guys busy in the winter? And then we started realizing that done right, snow can be not only your most profitable, but your winters can be insanely profitable. You can keep your guys on. You can be full service for your clients, so they're not having other providers on site. And so we really, about 2009 and 10, we had that recession/depression, but we just changed the way we looked at snow removal in general, the way we bid it, the way we did the work, the type of equipment that's out there, how do we get efficient, and just changed our entire pitch at that point on getting better at snow and ice management and have grown that business. And Matt does a great job of that. I've got an incredible team of people that run our snow and ice management. And we've got a lot of technology in place now. So it's really evolved. We're really good at snow and ice management, and we, try to provide our clients with something that most companies don't provide, which is more than just removing snow. It's, keeping them updated on what we're doing while we're on site and what condition the site's in. Is it safe at 7 a.m. for employees to get in and out of the building? And like a lot of guys know, and no two snow events are the same. When they start, when the snow starts flying, it could be 3 a.m., it could be 5 a.m., it could be 5 p.m. Sometimes it's going to be, warm. Sometimes it's going to have ice under it. Sometimes it's going to melt the next day. Sometimes it's 1 inch and 30-mile-an-hour wind, sometimes 6 inch and no wind. So every event is different. So snow management takes a ton of planning, preparation, and it's a hands-on. Because no event's the same. It's not like this is how we do snow every time, and so it's every event's different. I don't know if you listened to we had Matt on our the Green Grind podcast 2 weeks ago.
Yep. I was going to plug
talking
that
about snow. And, that was one of our best received. I think that one's had about 3,000 downloads or listens. I don't know. I'm not very good at this podcasting thing, but,
sure.
But that one did really well. And we tried to give guys some insight on, different ways of bidding snow and how we go about it. And there's just a lot of resources out there through the ASCA. And, so yeah, that's what we do. That's a little bit about our company. And again, we've had a couple early snows this year, so being prepped was important for that. And we weren't ready, but we're agile enough that we made do and got our customers taken care of, and the snow was gone in about 24 hours. But when it's snowing and it's slippery, you got to get out there and get things done. For sure.
No, dude, that's I'm gonna let you do most of the talking on this one, because I want to learn from somebody who's got a much larger company than myself. And for us, we're owner operator, so it's just me. We got the red truck Thunder, a lot of you guys know from YouTube, and we got the Boss 92 DXT. It's my only plow. It's my first plow, and I'm a babe. I've only got three seasons under my belt. I was actually adding it up earlier when I was driving to drop off a check with somebody earlier, and I was thinking about out loud. I've probably almost got to about $100,000 in snowplow services, maybe right there, maybe just over. I have to go back into my yard book and kind of break that down and kind of look at what services we've offered between snow and salt. But to me, that's pretty exciting. I was actually like, dude, we've probably done $100,000, like 30, 40 grand per year. I'm like, we got to be right there at 100, if not more. And it's funny because I'll talk to a lot of different guys that have larger companies, Kory, and they always say, this is what a lot of them do say, is that they make a majority of their money and their profit doing snow. And that was such an enigma for me for a decade. I'm like, because I'm making this grass money and we're cutting grass and things are going really well and it's just crazy cash flow. And then I'm like, but dude, it only snows 10, 15 times up here in Michigan, right? And I'm like, how can you make more doing less? How can you make more in 4 months than you do in 8 months, right? If you look at the season, 2/3, 1/3. And, but it's kind of true. And in fact, we've got a great role model here. You probably know where I was going with that one, Kory, with Troy Clogg.
Troy Clogg, yeah, does a great job.
He does a great job. I know he's been on your podcast, the Green Grind podcast. And if you guys missed that episode, go back, check it out, support Kory's show. Does a great job. They bring a new episode every week. But Kory, Troy said something really unique when we did an in-person interview at his office. He said, we don't manage snow, we manage risk. And I thought that was just if you wanted to sum up snow plowing and snow removal as a contractor in one sentence, for me personally, that was the golden nugget. And so...
Yeah, risk management. That's what we sell too. We sell risk management. That's what, at the end of the day, when we sell commercial accounts, it's all risk management. How do we keep people from slipping and falling? How do we make your business safe? And that's why we can charge a premium. How do we keep you safe? And that, at the end of the day, that is what snow and ice management is. And one slip and fall, and they get sued, and lawsuits are expensive, win or lose. And it is. Troy's got to nail it. That's exactly. It is. It's risk management. That's exactly what it is.
Well, I mean, and Kory, have you ever got the clients that are like, well, we just want you guys to plow the snow when it's over 4 inches or over 6 inches, right? Or, or we just want you to salt. We just want you to salt when it's 1 inch or more. The dusting. We don't want you to salt the parking lot or the sidewalks when it's just a dusting. And you're like, well, it could freeze. It could refreeze, right? And so that's really what your guys are doing as a snow contractor. And it's really funny to me, even though you run all the revenue through one business, right? You're a lawn and landscape professional and you have a snow division or a snow side of your business. To me, it's really almost like two different companies, dude. It's like two different industries that get smashed together, right? And the reason I say that is because I know a lot of guys that do asphalt and they have snow plowing services. I know guys that do roofing, and you can't do, roofs necessarily in December, January, February. I know some guys try, but they do snow plowing to supplement. So it's almost like every blue collar guy out there, if at least in the Midwest, if they want to keep that income coming in, they do snow plowing. And you'll see the craziest trucks, dude, from asphalt to concrete to brick pavers, brick layers, lawn and landscape guys, of course. Kory, help me out. Everybody in between.
A lot of dirt movers here. So
sure.
A lot of guys that have the big equipment. So some of the our bigger competition are they're big construction companies that move a lot of dirt. So they've got 20 wheel loaders sitting all winter. What do? They put sectionals on them and they plow snow.
Yep.
And, they've got the pool of people that want to run equipment that are trained operators. So a lot of our contractors here that are dirt companies and grading companies, concrete. A lot of concrete companies here do snow. And so we use a lot of subcontractors. We call them service partners because we think of everything as a partner. And
sure.
A subcontractor is somebody you really don't control. And a partner is somebody that hopefully buys into, we give them our training and our expectations. But, Yeah, so we use a ton of companies that do exactly that. They're concrete guys, they're dirt movers, they're underground sewer and stormwater companies.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of construction framing companies where they'll have 5, 6 pickups and 4 or 5 skid loaders. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, we use a lot of those guys. And what works out for us really well is they don't want to go out and get the work, or maybe they don't know how to get the work. And with us, they can just come in. We inspect their equipment. We find a couple sites for them to do. We give them our management tools. And now they've got snow contracts. They get paid, after every event. However the billing's set up, they can get paid after every event or monthly. It's up to them. But so now they've got winter income, and they don't have to do any of the work. They don't have to bill it, collect it, have the contract. So we use 30, 40, 50 probably really good service partners in all of our locations. And that's for us how we can grow our snow without continuing to put more and more capital. We're always buying, buying equipment, but we can grow our snow by adding subcontractors,
Right.
/ service partners.
Yeah, there's no shortage of guys out there with 3/4 ton trucks and plows. Even if the plows are 10 years old, they still work. And that way you guys don't have to make those huge capital investments to grow your company. Let me ask you this: let's say you're looking at the guy who's just getting started, right? I know you guys have literally started from what did you say? Always like a mower and a moped, right? And it's hard.
Sure.
It's hard for people to believe or imagine, because if you watch our video on YouTube and you watch the Perficut shop tour, just incredible. I mean, a couple different facilities. You had a whole operations side. Then across the street was the whole back end office side, and 5,000 square foot probably office space, 20,000 square foot ops space. You know the numbers better than I do, but I just walked around like a goldfish with my mouth open, like in awe. I was like, this is insane, bro. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I'm just like doopy-doo with my enclosed trailer, my truck. And some guys aspire to be me. I'm like, that's cool. And then other guys are like, man, screw Fullerton. Let's go where Kory's going. And I'm like, dude, that's wide open. Have fun. Go knock yourself out. I might have had aspirations to do that, but at 34, I'm an old fart. I personally just don't want to do that route. But let me ask you this. To the guy who's just getting started, he's got his new, Chevy 2500 Duramax or whatever, right? And let's say it's a 2016, 2018, 2014. Maybe it's not brand new, but he's like, look, I've been doing lawn care for 2 years. I want to take a crack at this snow game. I'm going to go buy my first Boss plow. It's $7,500. What's some mistakes that you could provide that guy just getting in business, like ground floor? What's some of those rookie mistakes? Like, is it contracts? Is it expectations on them? Expectations on the customer? Quality equipment versus buying used equipment? No right or wrong answer, but what's some things that you want to communicate to people that you about snow that you see people making big mistakes, or it could be helpful tips?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there that could be done. First off, equipment. Snow removal is the one game where you really have to have quality equipment. You
Amen.
Cannot have. Sure. If you've got 1 truck, 2 trucks, you cannot have your trucks down at 3 a.m. in the middle of a blizzard. You just can't do it. And we ran junk for a lot of years, and trucks are breaking down at 3 a.m. and you're underneath it in the dark, and it's dripping on you, and you're frozen, and
no fun.
You don't have the ability. I mean, if you got 2 trucks and one's down, you're in trouble. And it's 3 a.m. and you've got clients. So I always encourage guys to. It doesn't mean it has to be new, but it better be pretty sound equipment. And you can buy used blades, but it's really important you have good equipment. Snow is just one game where, I mean, if your mower breaks down in the summer, the grass grows, right? But you can get another one. You can get it fixed. Not the end of the world. But if your truck breaks down at 3:45 on a work day, you're doing a hotel, let's say, and you can't get it opened up, that you're going to lose that client. So, start with good equipment. One of the things I see guys do a lot of is they don't have contracts in place. They have handshake deals with the corner bank or the corner strip mall, maybe a hotel in the corner, and residential as well. They have handshake deals. I'll plow it for $65 a time. That includes your driveway and walk. Okay. And I just really encourage guys to start off with a base contract that outlines what are we doing? How much does it cost? What does that include? And also who's responsible for what? And then the key is, what's the trigger? And the trigger is, when do I start? Is it 1 inch? Is it 2 inches? So there's got to be some language in there. You can get a small attorney to draw one up for you. There's a lot of templates on there, Brian. You might already have one. Get a contract in place, even on your residential. If it's $65, what does that include? Does that include 1 time? Does that include 2 times? What if it keeps snowing for 2.5 days? How many times are you going to be there? And And so I just think a lot of guys think, well, hey, I got 10 snow accounts and I didn't get any contracts. And then, what are we doing? How much does it cost? What services are provided? And then on top of that, who's responsible for that trigger? If you've got a 2-inch trigger and you get 1 inch of snow and you don't show up and somebody slips and falls, who's responsible?
Right.
Are you?
Right.
You should be. So in your contract, it would say snowfall under the trigger, that you cannot be held liable. Now you still may get named in a lawsuit, but at least you have a signed contract. You just can't do snow removal is a risky. You can mow grass without a contract. You can spray lawns without a contract, but you cannot do snow without a contract. You've got to have something in place to protect your business, because one lawsuit, guys, and again, win or lose, you start paying an attorney $300, $350 an hour. It gets really expensive. So, I think that's important.
Well, let me, can I interject really quick here? Because, two things. One, you guys, if you guys listen to the show, debtfreelandscaper.com, my friend Mike Bedell, I use a lot of his contracts. He's got a snow contract for both residential and commercial. So a little plug for Mike. That's what I've used for my 3 years. He's kind of been like my coach and mentor in the snow removal game. So I owe a lot to him for that. So if you guys do need contracts, dude, $25, $30. And that's the great power about social media, guys. These training programs or resources, because we can scale them to thousands of people and thousands of listeners, we can make them available. Like Kory said, if you're going to go get a contract made up with an attorney, it could be $350 an hour. It could be $5 or $10 grand for real to have some of these contracts drafted up over time. And we can make them available to you guys for $25, $50, and it's that economies of scale or whatever they say. So I just wanted to plug that really quick as I'm taking notes as you're talking, Kory, because you're saying a bunch of good stuff. And the other part too is I love what you just said about why people lose accounts is because if you're not there same day or within 24 hours to do that snow, and those accounts are zero tolerance, the reason people are zero tolerance and it's so everybody mobilizes the armada is because we got to manage risk. You can't leave a strip mall unplowed for 3 days, right? So if somebody slips and fall, it's like if you get sued, you got to show that you were there. Logs, what happened? What were the conditions? Did you make an actual effort? It's the same thing why we have emergency lights on our vehicles. If you're plowing snow and you don't have any lights on and somebody hits you or you hit somebody and people want to sue and it goes to guns, well, did you actually have all your beacon lights on? Did you actually, have the opportunity for somebody to see you? And so we're managing risk. It's a little bit, I don't want to scare anybody from it, but these are all, this way more, the stakes are raised, I should say, when you're doing snow plowing. It's not necessarily harder or scarier or anything like that. It's a more invasive part of the business. Like you have to cross your T's and dot your I's. And like you said, Kory, if your lawnmower breaks down, you can cut the grass in 10 days once your dealer's done with your mower and go double cut a lawn. Tell Miss Susie, hey, my equipment broke down. We're trying to get a loaner, whatever. We'll be back in 2 weeks. You cannot do that with snow plowing. Like after 24 hours, after 12 hours, everybody's calling you, right? Hey, where you guys at? Where you at? You guys coming out? And I have clients that after 2 hours are like, hey, you guys coming today? I'm like, dude, it's the same story every time, bro. We'll be there within 4 to 6, 8 hours, So, and we do a bang up job. So I just wanted to go back to two things you said. Number one, have good contracts. And I said this on a coaching call to somebody about a couple of weeks ago. The reason you have contracts is because the language in there is exact. Like the exact expectations is what I think you were just alluding to, Kory. Who's doing what? Who's responsible for what? How much are we paying? How much are we doing? You don't want any gray area. Is that what you're saying with contracts?
Yeah, well, exactly. And also, if you're doing commercial work, you need to know exactly what expectations are. What are the hours of business? Are they open on Sundays? Maybe they're not open on a Sunday. And where are the handicap stalls? Where are the fire hydrants? Where are the stacking areas? Maybe you're stacking it in the wrong area, and every time it melts, it refreezes. That water comes back on the parking lot. It freezes that night. Now you've got a potential risk right there. So, we have maps on all of our sites. This is a little further down the road for some guys, but we have maps on every one of our sites. It shows exactly where the snow stacking areas are. It shows exactly where the hydrants are, where the handicap stalls are. Are there any emergency exit doors? Do we know where the exit doors are? And so there's just a lot of things you got to take into consideration, but you've got to have those conversations with the person in charge of that. What are the expectations of our services, and are you charging accordingly? And that's where guys get into trouble, or they sometimes guys, one of the things with snow removal is it's a really kind of a thankless business. People just, they don't thank you for doing, like, hey, the snow's, that's what you signed up for. We have a deal where we don't make excuses. We never tell a customer that we're tired. Like I've talked to people like, oh, I've been out for 16 hours. Dude, that's what you signed up for. Right. Like your customer doesn't care that you're tired. They don't care that you've been out for 16 hours. We don't make excuses. And, that's just part of the deal. You signed up for this, right? Yep. So I don't care if it's 2 a.m. And so we just have a no excuse, no bullshit way about it is, and that doesn't mean we don't send guys home. We're at the point where we can usually rotate some staffing. But I know there's small companies that, they'll go for 12 or 14 or 20 hours and they'll all go home and sleep. Right. And then customers are calling and saying, hey, we had redrifting or refreezing. And yeah, my guys are all tired. We're sleeping. No. Right. So one of the things you can do for that, even if you're a small guy, send the guy home when you get things under control and say, hey, dude, go get 4 hours of sleep. We're going to rotate. When you get back at midnight, I'm going to go home until 5 a.m. and I'll meet you at 5:30. Whatever that looks like. But to always have somebody available, because guys will shut their phone off, go to bed. You've got clients expecting things. And so you've got to think through the event. You got to know, again, like we talked, no two events are the same. So, what time is it going to be done snowing? Is it supposed to be windy? We're going to get some drifting. What does that look like? And, and so you've got to just be prepared, and you've got to look at every event differently. And you've got to look at it from the customer's perspective too. They don't care that you're tired. What do we got to do to make sure that our service is at a high level? And, it's got to be outlined. Are we salting? Are we salting at our own discretion, or do they have to call us? And if they do have to call us and they don't call us and somebody slips and falls, who's responsible? Sure. You didn't call us to fall. So somebody fell while our lot was slippery. Well, that's an on-call. And if we're an on-call only, we don't do contracts like that anymore, but we did for a long time. But if you're on-call only for ice melt or salt, then are you responsible? You better outline that in your contract, because, again, you're going to get named. Somebody's going to slip and fall. And usually when people slip and fall, they break bones. Unfortunately, they break bones and lawsuits get expensive, and then your insurance maybe covers it, and then your rates go up. And again, so make sure your insurance company knows you're a snow provider. You may have to pay a little extra, but make sure they know what you do. I know guys that say, "Well, I've got business insurance." I'm like, I know you got business insurance, but do they know that you do snow and ice management, even if it's on a small level? Do they know that you're going to have some additional risk there? And if you get named in a lawsuit, are they going to be caught off guard? Or are they going to say, yeah, we know that Joe's Lawn Care does snow removal and snow and ice management, and we know what he does, and we're prepared to fight that. That's super good knowledge there that I want to just take a quick plug, because everybody's different with the commercial liability insurance. And I've heard from personal experience how it works for us is they say, if you're not doing more than a third of your business's annual revenue, then we'll cover you for snow insurance as well. For the vehicle, we know that you're plowing snow. If you do more than a third of your gross revenue, your rates are going to go up. I think mine went up last year a little bit, but it's always funny. People are like, well, like, should I get liability insurance? Yes. Should I get, workers' comp? Yes. But then, like you said, Kory, like you just kind of, well, I'm going to just graduate into doing snow. And then, something happens in December, you back into one of those yellow pylons, the emergency pylons that, block the meters, right? While you're plowing snow, you back up into it because they jump out at you at 4 a.m, right, Kory? and now you got this whole smashed up bumper or tailgate or your salter, and now you got a $3,000-$4,000 repair bill. Just ask B&B with Lawn Care. He's got a Raptor, and his tailgate's like $2,000, and he didn't hit a thing plowing snow, but just being funny there. But tailgates nowadays, man, these new trucks, it's ridiculous. They're $3,000-$4,000, and you call up your State Farm, and they're gonna go, well, what happened? Like, did you get a police report? What happened? You're like, well, I kind of maybe was plowing snow, and they're like, what do you mean, like kind of maybe? And you're like, well, like I've been plowing snow, and like it's January. Have you been doing this since November 1st? And you're like, well, and you just don't want those conversations, like. Yeah. just make sure you have it up front with them.
If there's any one thing you're going to do, like snow plowing, be honest. Of course, get commercial. We're always an advocate of doing things correctly. I don't care if you're doing $20,000 a year in snow or $20,000 a week or $20,000 a month in snow. Just get your commercial liability insurance. Let them know. Have that conversation. It's like guys, we're pruning shrubs, and you're like, well, and they're like, do you guys go on ladders? And you go, well, what's a ladder? It's like, is it like five steps is a ladder, or do you mean like a 20-foot ladder? Guys, a ladder is a ladder, and if you break your leg and they deny you, I mean, you had it coming. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, it's the same thing when people speed, Kory, and they're like, wow, the cop gave me a ticket for going 10 over. No, moron, you went 10 over the speed limit. Of course the cop's going to give you a ticket. Like, cops don't give you tickets. You gave yourself a ticket. So this is really, really good stuff. I didn't want to just skate through the insurance thing because I think it's a conversation you got to have with your people. It's not usually that much more. It might be 10, 20% more on your annual premium. But, you guys, these snow trucks, like Kory said, 30, 40, 60,000 bucks. A snow blade is $8,000. Somebody T-bones you at a light because they slid right through it in their forward focus and it smashes your plow, cracks the frame of your plow, and you're out $10,000 on the truck and $10,000 on the plow. You're not going to come up with that out of pocket, right? And not only that, if you're an owner operator, you're out of business. So
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you just have to make sure that you're set up right because accidents do happen. We tear up stuff all the time. We've got a lot of exposure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've hit ATMs that are expensive at banks. We've hit, we backed into light poles. Light pole falls over. I mean, we've hit everything. We've hit everything you can hit in our time, and so you've got to have insurance. When you're out there, you're going to hit something. Somebody's going to hit you. You're going to back into something. It just happens.
Mm-hmm.
So just make sure you have your insurance. We don't need to beat that up much more, but you better let your insurance guy know what you're doing. And it's not much more money, but you'll sleep better at night knowing that if something happens, that you're gonna be covered. And because it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
Absolutely. Well, let's do this. We're going to change it up for a quick second. Things, talking about hitting things like Paul Jameson always says, we got to make a smooth transition here, right, Kory? So while Kory's busy hitting things with his plow trucks, we got to hit our show sponsors, right? We got to keep the bills paid here. So let's do this. Let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer. We're going to hear again from our show sponsors, and then we're going to come back talking about pricing. I'm going to double down on pricing and get some more info from Kory about how to price our contracts correctly so we can make the most amount of money.
It sure would be nice to take our marketing and branding to the next level. Everyone always seems to have the best marketing materials, the best business cards, the best postcards. If I wasn't so busy mowing lawns all day, I'd probably have some cool designs too. I mean, where do people find the time to do all this stuff? I know I need to get new customers, and I know what I need to do. I just don't have the time to do it. I wish there was a better way. Hey guys, we wanted to make you aware of a brand new program that's now available for you guys exclusively at the L'EntreprenneurAcademy.com. Brian has now made available a brand new program, which includes 4 downloadable postcards designed to help you guys grow your business. 4 unique theme postcard templates are now available for you in a plug-and-play fashion. Simply add your company name, company logo, and phone number, and you're ready to rock and roll. These 4 designs are great for any lawn and landscaping business owner looking to take their marketing to the next level. The training program contains a spring, summer, fall, and winter theme postcard. They're $75 each, or purchase all 4 for $249, a $50 savings. Take the stress and hassle out of trying to design your own templates and postcards and use these to quickly grow your business. Get them printed with Brian's preferred vendor, or take the design to your local shop to have them printed up. But now you have 4 designs that are ready to go help you immediately take your marketing and advertising to the next level. Now available exclusively at L'EntreprenneurAcademy.com. Ratings and reviews. Each week, we take a minute to highlight your guys' reviews of the show.
Certainly, thanks to each and every one of you for taking 2 minutes to leave a 5-star review. Cordell Lawn Services says, best podcast ever. Brian, I have 5 words to sum this up. You have changed my life. This podcast has taught me so much, not just in business aspects, but in life, period. Thank you for everything you do. I am a full-time fireman, and you have inspired me to start my own lawn care business this year. And he says the best way to predict the future is to create it. Thanks, Brian, and stay safe. Amazing show, writes TD Lawns. Well, Brian's all right, but I mainly come to listen to Mr. Producer. And then he sucker punches me, guys, and says, just kidding. So I got real excited when I saw that, and then he says, just kidding. This show is literally life-changing, whether it's an interview or a solo show. It's always upbeat and exciting. As a 14-year-old, Brian really resonates with me and has been extremely helpful since episode 1. Brian, Julio, and Paul have created the holy trinity of podcasts to help you grow and encourage you in your business. Yeah, I can't say that's my vision of the holy trinity. Father, please forgive TD Lawns, for they know not what they do. He goes on to say, whether I'm mowing or shooting hoops, I always have my ISO tunes in, listening to one of those 3 podcasts. In short, great podcast, great content, great host, an amazing producer. Thanks, Brian. One of the best declares CamMan556. Brian spelled the wrong way. Of course, Brian spells his name with an I, not a Y. So I guess CamMan, maybe CamMan's name is Brian. This is the 4th time I've listened to this episode, and it is, in my opinion, the best one you have done to date. Now, I don't know which episode you're referring to, CamMan. I'm sure there's a way to figure that out. I'm just not smart enough to figure it out. So let us know which episode was so powerful for you. Tad, with 2 Ds, Tad93. I listen to this almost every day. It's super helpful. I started my business 4 years ago with no clients, no real experience. I found Brian's YouTube channel and podcast. It has helped me grow over 200% with pricing and confidence in selling jobs.
Want us to read your review next? Let us know how we're doing, and we might just read your review on next week's show.
All right, guys. Well, cool deal. Well, thank you, Marty, Mr. Producer, for handling all the show sponsors for us and helping us keep the lights on here. Kory, let's double down on pricing. I think that for me personally, anytime I do coaching calls with snow plowing, or you guys check out the snow plowing training course that we have at launchpreneuracademy.com, amazing resource. I wish somebody made something like that 10 years ago. Thankfully, I had a guy named Mike Bedell teach me a third of that prior training program, and the other 2/3 I just learned from experience along the way. But I'll tell you what, thank God I had some good foundations. But one thing that Bedell really helped me out was with my pricing. So Kory, I want to talk to you about like frequently asked questions or helpful tips. The first thing I want to talk about is the contract type before we maybe get like super technical. Like a lot of guys always ask, hey, do you guys prepay or do per push? Is it unlimited or is it per event? What do you guys do? What have you noticed works well, residential or commercial? Can you weigh in on either for us?
Yeah, we've graduated to pretty much mostly seasonal. Now, we still do some what we call event pricing, which is, 1 to 3, 3.1 to 6, 6.1 to 9, 9.1 to 12, so we have these pricing, blocks
Tiers
built in, and
Yep.
exactly shows exactly what they pay. And that does a couple different things. I just don't, a lot of guys are still doing it hourly, and that's kind of the old school way to do it. And you can certainly do that if you don't know your numbers and you don't know exactly how long you're going to be there. Hourly is a safe way to do snow, of course. And, a lot of guys aren't charging enough. They're still charging the old rates. And as you said, a snowplow used to be $4,500. Now they're $7,000, $7,500, and
or more.
a truck you can pick up for $20,000. Now a pickup truck's $35,000, $40,000, $50,000, and so you're out there in this pickup truck with $65,000, $70,000, and guys are charging $80 an hour. It's not enough. And,
No.
so you've got hourly is a safe way to do snow. I just don't recommend it, because you really you cap out at you're just kind of capped out. That's the most you can make unless you overbill, right? Most guys, you should have an hour minimum though. So if you're doing small stuff, and you've got an hour, let's say your truck and plow rate is $100. It's for easy math.
Sure.
Maybe be more than that, whatever. And if you can plow in 45 minutes, well, you're going to maximize a little bit of profit there. But if you can build the structure and the tiers in there to a 1 to 3, and you can start doing that, then you're going to get the maximum value for more efficient equipment. And then you can start figuring out, how can we do this more efficiently? What's the best time to show up? How do we not do this 3 times? How do we do it 1 time? And every event's different. Sometimes it'll snow 2 inches and stop at 7 p.m. You can go in there 1 time and clean it up. The next 3-inch event, it might blow and all night long, and you might have to be there 3 times. And the snow is kind of a give and take. You're going to have your events that are really profitable. You might have an event that's less profitable, that you had to be out there much longer than you should have been for maybe a 3-inch snow. And
right.
so there's the set rate, which is the categories, like I said, 1 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9 and up, or however you decide to do it. There's also guys that do the per push. So every time we show up, it's $200. And that includes, we're going to do all the drives, walks, and it's, $200 every time. And that works out okay as well, as long as you're doing the entire thing. I don't like that as much. If you're just doing residential, figure out a set rate. Typically when we did residential, at the end, I think we were doing $65 a piece. And that would include, we would back drag once, and then we would come back and clean it up, do the walks, do the stoop. And that would, that is $65. Now, if it keeps snowing and it keeps blowing, it's another $65. But we outlined that you get one clean, and then a full clean, or one back drag and a full clean. And, usually the back drag would be just enough so they can safely get out of their garage and get to work if they need to. And then we come back and clean it up when it's done snowing. And, seasonal contracts are usually for guys that are, much more seasoned. They got a lot of time under their belt. They know exactly how long and what equipment they're going to use on site. I like seasonal because it guarantees you revenue. So we start billing November 1st, and we get paid through April 1. And we know exactly what we have coming in. It allows us to keep a lot of our people on. And our customers also like budget certainty. If you guys have ever gotten into, if you're doing hourly snow and you've done it for any amount of time, I guarantee you've had some tough conversations with clients. You're like, well, Brian, I don't think you were here for 9 truck hours.
Right.
Well, and those are just tough conversations. And they don't know what their invoice is going to be every month. And I really like to avoid tough conversations and uncertainty in billing, because again, you might have got 3 inches, but you might have had double the truck hours you had the time before when you got 4 inches, because it just was a different snowfall. It was wet. It was heavy. This one was dry, and it was, we went in there and blasted it out super quick on, at midnight, and there was no traffic. And so every event's a little bit different, but I don't like getting into that situation where after every snow, you compile all this paperwork and you start figuring out how long we were here. And then you send the customer a bill and they think you overcharged them. Now you're having a tough conversation. That just, it tends to sour the relationship, especially if you guys like us are, the only, customers that we plow for are full service maintenance customers. So we want a good relationship. We talk a lot about partnerships. We want this to be a partnership. And so we want to give them budget certainty that they know that if it snows 3.5 inches, they pay X every time. And you got to, use an accredited, weather station that's closest to proximity. Back to contracts, your contract should say, if you're doing it that way, where you're going to pull that reading from. It's not from the guy on the news that shows a tape measure on his deck and he says, I got 8 inches of snow.
Yep.
And it's actually, you got 5.5,
yep.
And sometimes it goes, sometimes you'll get a swell that'll go through there and, they might say you got 3.4 and you're like, man, I think we plowed 5 inches. Well, sometimes it goes the other way. So you just have to live with those numbers. So your contract, every one of our contracts say in it, we pull your snowfall from X, and it tells exactly whatever that reading is, and they provide it to us within 24 hours at the end of the event. If it says it's 6.1, then they get charged the 6.1 to 9 rate. If it's 5.9, and that's what it is. We don't argue it. We don't say, well, it was windy this time, it was tougher. Excuse me. It just is what it is. So, the pricing is really all over the board. You'll see a lot of guys that aren't charging enough. Again, those are the guys that are maybe just trying to stay busy. I encourage you to look for accounts and people that are willing to pay for a professional quality job, that understand the risk management, that you have the tools, you're going to be on site, you're going to be dependable. We let our clients know what we're going to do, what our plan of attack is always. We send out weather notices, before the event. Hey, it looks like we're going to get snow tonight. Here's our plan of attack. We plan on being there, here, and we think we can have you clean and safe by 5 a.m. If not, we let them know. Sometimes you can do that we do it via email. But when a client wakes up, even if you're doing residential, and they look out their front stoop at 5 a.m. or out their front window at 5 a.m. and you got 8 inches of snow, and they're not sure they can get out of their garage to get to work. And,
right.
You've got to let them know, what are the expectations. You can't, if you do residential and you have a 50 residentials and you only have 1 or 2 trucks, you can't get them all. the reality is you cannot have them all clean by 6 a.m.
Right.
You got to start somewhere. Somebody's always last, right?
Somebody's always first. Somebody's always last. Amen.
Yeah. So what are the expectations? If you tell every one of your clients that I'll have your driveway cleaned up by 6 a.m. and it starts snowing at 4 a.m., that's not realistic.
Well,
so what are you doing to communicate?
Well, and check this out. So, and I know some of you guys like, because you're smart, just like I am. So, Kory, you know exactly what I'm going to say. If you got 30 residentials, one guy's first, the one guy's 30th, then what do you do the following snowstorm? This is a trick question, by the way. Well, then you make the last guy first and the first guy last. But then what happens to the first guy? He gets pissed off because you were there within 30 minutes the first time the snowstorm ends, right? And then the second snowstorm, you're there at the end of the route 5 hours later, and he goes, well, this service is just unrealistic and ridiculous. You were supposed to be here within the first hour. And you go, well, and if you explain to him, well, we had to flip the route because you guys all can't be first. Everybody wants to be first. You have to have these kind of conversations with these residential customers sometimes that, hey, look, it says in our contracts, got it from Bedell, we will be there within, I think it's 12 to 24 hours, and we will take care of your driveway. In fact, I love what you said, Kory. Have contracts, have conversations, and make whatever you guys decide to do, just make it exact. Have the expectations and have the conversations. For some of you guys, like last year, mine was, we will back drag and clean out the driveway. That way you can get in and out. I call it restoring emergency access. You can get in and out, and then within 24 hours, we will double back after we take about a 5-hour nap because we go hard, just like you were saying, Kory, because we're only one guy. Like, you have to do so much work in a window. You got to be very, very smart about how you're going to approach it. So we would get all of our commercials done and then do our residentials, or do our residentials, then do all of our commercials, whatever, a lot of dynamics there. And then the next day, after we recouped for about 4 hours, took a quick nap, we would go out and do all the sidewalks, because in my subdivisions, for example, the cities will ticket you 20, 30, $50 if you don't have cleaned out sidewalks, right? So we wanted to make sure that we returned visits to take care of all those sidewalks within that 24 hours, usually the next day or the next morning. And customers were totally cool with that. But the reason they were cool with it is because we spelled it out. I'll tell you guys straight up, like, I do things a little different than Kory. That's why I wanted to get him on here. I wanted to listen to the variety. Everybody does snow a little different. For me personally, I do all my residentials, a prepay, unlimited pushes. It's like $400 a driveway. That's not like a blanket across the board. We get about 40 inches of snow a year. If you're in the Northeast and you get more snow and you get 65 inches, it might be $699 or $799 for the driveway for the year. Look around, shop around, figure out your guys' numbers. But for me, also budgeting my business's finances and my family's finances, I love that residential prepay money because I figure out how much my bills are per month. I get about 30 or 40 residential driveways, and that pays my bills for my family, my business, my salaries, all that mess. All of our commercial is per push, and that's the gravy, right? So for me, we make good rates and good money on our commercial stuff, but for me, that's the extra credit money. So at least for me and my finances, right, I know my bills are paid, and then we have the gravy, or the commercial pays the bills and the residential we just bank, whichever way you guys want to cut the mustard, right? But Kory, I know, guys, my friend Mike, everything is all a la carte and all per push. Every push is different. Every tier is different. If he puts down salt, it's an extra charge. Everything is push, and that's okay. But Bedell makes a lot of money doing snow. Also, just so you guys just get the lay of the land, like just give you guys some different options out there. Some guys will pre-charge or preload. Hey, let's say it's $60 every time we do a visit. That customer has to prepay 4 visits or $240, for example, right? And once you get to your last plow or after your last plow is done, they reload, another $240. They recharge the card on file and add another 4 pushes, right? So no right or wrong answer. Just make sure you get paid. I think uniformly, I don't know if I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this, but uniformly, don't do hourly snow plowing. I like what Kory just said. Like, if you really break it down, the customer gets a fair rate, sort of, but you're not going to get paid what the truck and you are worth. It's just like the same guys that, how much you charge per hour for pruning? I'm like, we charge like for the job. Almost everything.
We charge for the job.
Yeah.
Everything's for the job.
I don't want to talk out of line. Is that what you guys do, Kory? Does that kind of make some sense?
Yeah. Everything's for the job. Now we base that job based on a man-hour rate that we've predetermined, but
Bingo.
that gives us the best opportunity to maximize our value. So if it's a pruning job and we bid it for $500, and let's just say we want to make $50 a man hour, so we think it's 10 man hours, so it's $500.
Yeah.
But if we go in there and we maximize, we can get it done in 7.5. Okay, now we got $68.50 an hour, and so it just gives you opportunity to maximize your profits. If you always do it hourly, whatever service it is, the most you can make is your hourly rate. That's the best you can do. If you bid it per job, you have an opportunity to do more. And the other thing with snow, I was just thinking is, where guys get in trouble, and I've been there, is we oversell, we overcommit, because we overcommit based on, well, last year we didn't get a lot of snow, we can take on more. You know what? If it only snowed 3 inches every time, we could take on a lot more.
Sure.
So what happens when we get 11 or 12 inches? Are we prepared, or is it going to be an absolute disaster and we're going to let everybody down? And so I just caution you guys to not overcommit. It seems sexy to get more and more and more. And so we base our snow on kind of worst case scenario. We like to say that we can have everything done in 6 hours in a typical event. We can have everything done in 6 hours because we could take on way more. If it only snowed 2 inches every time, we could take on way more.
Right.
But it doesn't. And so, just don't set yourself up to fail if you get 8 or 9 inches, because and I know that, you're going to be in trouble. You get 9 inches of snow, and now even in a residential world, every driveway takes you an hour and a half. You're in trouble. You got 30 driveways. You're in trouble,
dude. That's huge. I would say like the biggest takeaway for me personally, learning snow the last 3 years. And by the way, guys, I don't have it figured out. I literally thought snow was, you get some snow blowers, you get some shovels, and you just rock and roll. There's a science, there's a culture, there's a lifestyle, there's an investment. And I was really, really ignorant. I did snow removal with snow blowers, but I wasn't plowing snow, and I didn't really have any huge capital investment. I had two $600 snow blowers, and we'd slosh around in the 2x4 F-150. Unbelievable. It was literally a miracle that I even had like 40 customers. You know what I'm saying, Kory? But that was a couple grand, and we made it work. It was a little bit of meek winter income. Before we were doing snow plowing full time, I actually worked at a medical supply company. Not a lot of people know that. And I did it for about 3 winters in the off season. Mr. Brian's Law Maintenance, Mr. Businessman, Mr. Guru. Yeah, I was working $12 and $14 an hour jobs in the winter for a few years once I got married, because I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't being a slouch, ordering off of Amazon during the holidays, right? It's like we're about to go into that season here. And so I just got a $12, $14 an hour job at a medical supply warehouse. It was such a pushover, brainless job. That's what I wanted. And it was 5 minutes down the road. But that $600, $700, $800 a week was what I could contribute to the family budget without being at home and, kicking my feet up like I earned the time off. That's just my personal opinion. You guys can do whatever you want. But I'd rather go make $500, $600 a week than spend $200, $300 hunting or spending money on Amazon, doing stupid stuff. Whatever. You guys know what I'm saying. But that was the thing. Like, we had to have that income pay the bills. But anyway, a little rabbit hole to go back. What the biggest takeaway for me is I learned pretty quickly that my snow runs were about 6, 8, 10 hours tops. And that was really, really stout. Like, I was happy with that. Like, we can make $3-4 grand in a night, believe it or not, gross. I was really, really happy with those kind of production numbers across the board. Like you said, Kory, 2-3 inch snowstorm, I can bang that stuff out 5-6 hours. But when you get double the snow, it was almost like a tripling of my time investment, because pushing 2 to 3 inches of snow is not the same pushing 8 inches of wet slush. Right. I know it sounds kind of remedial for some of you guys that have been doing this for a minute, but also for some of you new guys coming in, you're like, man, your first snowstorm, you're like, oh dude, it was only a 3-inch powder snow. We got it done in 5 hours. I'm going to just get 25 more residential customers, man. I'll take everybody on. It's kind of like, in the spring, we want to just keep taking everybody on. And it's like, well, I don't know about that, because we're going to get all the rains in the spring and you're going to get screwed. Take on more customers in the summer, once you get out of spring, but know how long your routes take. For me personally, 6, 8, 10 hours, I'm done. I'm toast. My eyes are bloodshot, whether I'm doing it during the day or at night. I want to go get some sleep. Some guys, if you're 19 and you can, throw back 2 Bang energy drinks and you want to go 24 hours straight, God bless you. I would say like once you hit about 30 years old or older, you might want to just, pace yourself. And that goes full circle to having top dollar, because if you're only going to be working for 10 or 12 hour plow runs, you got to be able to make a couple grand in a night to make it worth it. Does that kind of make some sense, Kory?
Yeah, snow is just tough work. And if you're going to do it, you need to be profitable. And, when you get out there and you're running 20, 24 hours, that's when accidents happen as well. I mean, I'm sure if you guys have plowed enough,
yep,
you start seeing, I've been out where I'm seeing things,
yep.
I've fallen asleep. I've literally fallen asleep in a, skid loader in a snowdrift. I've woken up and and we've been out there. We ran those 24, 30, 35 hour shifts that we had 18 inches of snow a few years ago, and we were in wheel loaders. Some of us were in wheel loaders for 30, 35 hours. It was brutal. And that's what you do. That's what you do in a blizzard. We had no choice. And,
yep.
But that's when accidents happen, when you get tired. But if you're going to do snow, you guys got to be profitable. It's not fun. It's not good on your equipment. You tear stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to make sure you're making maximum dollars with your time. And, and I like that you guys are, you're talking, Brian, about getting prepaid. The last thing you want to do is snow and not get paid. I know another company that does a lot of residentials, and they sell what they call a baker's dozen. And so what they do is, you pay for 12 events and you get 13. So you get a freebie. They prepay for the season. So they've got 13 snow events. And if the season goes longer, then they pay a per push after that, or per,
sure.
They just
sure.
prorate it. But, then you get prepaid, and you just don't want to be fighting and trying to collect money. Snow is tough work. And, you get somebody that says, I don't think you were here. And, you never did my driveway, and I don't want to pay you. And I was there. And you can document that stuff too. Guys, you can simply, very easily, take photos. So, we have a deal where we have to take photos when we show up. We take 3 photos when we're done.
Mm-hmm.
We have to document the temperature, the wind condition, the site condition. That's a little bit further than a lot of you guys are, but we all got smartphones, right?
Yep.
So
yep.
You plow this driveway and it's spotless. You take a quick photo of it. You can send it off to an email. You can store it in a different file. And then if there's ever an issue, even a slip and fall, if it's a commercial site, hey, December 13th at 5:31 a.m., here was the site. It was spotless.
Mm-hmm.
It was clean.
Mm-hmm.
If they say, hey, you weren't there, actually we were. Here's a picture when it was completed. And so we do a lot of photos. If you hit something, if we hit something, we take photos, and we tell the customer, hey, by the way, when we were out, we tore up a piece of curb. We plan on repairing that in the spring. We let them know if we did any damage. You're going to fix it anyways. You might as well be upfront about it. Hey, we hit something, and we know we hit it.
Yep. Just own it.
Worse than if you hit, we hit garage doors, or we hit stuff, and we just say, hey, by the way, at unit number 12, we hit a garage door. Please get an estimate. We'll get it taken care of. Just be up. No, we didn't do that. Well, there's red paint on it. Nobody else did it.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
And it sucks. It sucks, right? You're like, God damn it, I plowed all night. Now I got to pay for a garage door. But that's why you've got to be charging enough money, because you're going to hit stuff. You're going to tear stuff up. And so you've got to be profitable, because you've got to have that cushion in there that you're going to have to fix a few things. And we go back in the spring and do sod repair, and we have to reseed, and you're going to catch some sod no matter what, and you're going to catch some sod and tear it up. And again, does your contract say that we're going to put everything back the way it was? Some contracts say we're not responsible for sod and turf repair.
Mm-hmm.
Some we in ours it says we are. It says due to neglect. So if we catch a curb, and that's on us. If we catch a bunch of sod and we rip up a huge pile of sod, we know in the spring we're going to go back there and do some snow repairs. And you guys should be, you should be out right now or real soon staking your properties. We stake, islands, curb edges, handicap stalls. We have a 4-foot stake. We sell them at ballard-inc.com. If you want them there, buy them. If not, buy them from someone else.
Yep.
But you should be staking your properties, even residential. Just put one at each corner. I've been out there. I don't know about you, Brian. I've been out there with my boot trying to find the edge of the sidewalk or find the edge of the curb.
Oh, yeah.
You're digging with your foot trying to figure out, because you pull in at 3 a.m. and it's blowing and snowing sideways. You can't even tell where the pavement ends and the snow, and the grass begins. You rip down the middle, and all of a sudden you see grass flipping up, and you're like, oh my God, I just tore half their freaking, and you're trying to cover. I try to cover it back up with a snow pile. But
Kory, funny story, dude. There's one I was doing. It was in a cul-de-sac, and they had a sidewalk. And I was doing a court before, and they did not have a sidewalk. The lawns went right to the street, right? So I do the second court. This is such a rookie mistake. Even your man here, Fullerton, Mr. Motivation, right? I was doing the second court, and I plowed this huge snow pile right through the grass boulevard. I mean, like, I took the plow straight at their house. I thought it was the one that I was doing before. I was going to clean up the sidewalk. So the first court was grass, sidewalk, road, right? The second court that I was doing, that I was on, was grass, sidewalk, boulevard, road. And I thought,
right.
But dude, like you said, I'm plowing snow for 6 hours. I don't know what the hell's going on, dude. The lights are flashing. I'm drinking my second Monster. I have no idea what's going on. So I plowed straight through the boulevard grass into the sidewalk, into their front yard. And I'm like, yeah, man, cleared out that whole sidewalk for those guys. I did a +1, man. I pull up the plow. I back up. I got the floodlights all, baked on their front yard. And I noticed that I literally cut a 9-foot wide roll of sod and rolled it into their front yard from that boulevard. I was like, oh my God, I just did that. So dude, I had this is so stupid. I had my buddy Sawyer working with me back in the day. And so we both went out there. We literally picked up this 9-foot wide, 3-foot deep roll of grass from the boulevard and just laid it back down. I mean, there was nothing there, right? We did a little grading for them, charged them for that in the spring. Just kidding. And we laid this whole sod back out. So mistakes happen. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's the court that has the sidewalk. Their sidewalk isn't after the grass, right? So we've been there. And for real, guys, I want to really just echo again. I know we're it seems like every snow podcast I've done, it's like doom and gloom and like, just make sure you got your ducks in a row. We're all like, we just really do care. Bedell cares. I know Kory cares. Troy cares. We don't want people to get sued, lose money. It's an intense part of the business. It's 10 degrees out. Things don't start. You're wrenching on something. Your bolts and screws and nuts and washers, they fall into the snow. It's wet. You don't have a flash. I mean, it can be kind of miserable. I remember, and the reason I say all that is, like, again, with your plow runs, like, yeah, you might be able to do a 12 or 14-hour plow run one time, but like Kory said, what happens when you get a 10-inch snowstorm followed by a 2-inch drifts all night, or 2-foot drifts, followed by a 3-inch clipper that comes through, followed by some more lake effect, and now you have these 18-hour snow runs 4 days in a row. When are you supposed to sleep? And again, goes full circle to zero tolerance. You know what? They might give you an excuse or a pass, I should say, on the first one, but if you do that 2-3 times, Home Depot doesn't want to hear it. They do not care. Walmart doesn't want to hear it. And so less is more. We say this all the time on the podcast. Less is more. Have top dollar for your pricing. That way you don't have to be out there for 10, 15, 18 hours. So that's just something I wanted.
You got to charge enough so that you don't have to overextend yourself, and otherwise, it's a tough job, and you don't get a lot of thank yous doing snow, and it's expected, like, well, I got you cleared out. You're supposed to get them cleared out. I mean, it's just, you don't get there's not a lot of glory in snow removal, and it's tough work. It's tough on your employees, and it's tough on your equipment. And so charge and right, get the contract set, make sure you know expectations, try to have your equipment in the best shape, and also make sure you're prepared ahead of time. A lot of guys,
sure,
are
that's huge.
Not prepared. We're always prepared. I mean, we're starting trucks the day before. If they're calling for snow tomorrow, we're starting everything. We're testing the lights. We're moving them back and forth. We're checking our skid loaders. We're prepared. We don't go out at midnight to find out that the battery's dead in the skid loader. We already know, are they fueled up? Is everything in working condition? After every snow event, we go through every piece of equipment. We have people that check on everything, and whether you got one truck or 100, we go through and inspect everything. Is everything looking good? Hose is good, or battery's good, lights still working. Just be prepared. It is nothing worse than 3 a.m. and you're out trying to hook your plow up. And I'm like, why? Guys like, yeah, I can't get my plows on. I'm like, you're putting your plow on at 3 a.m.?
Oh yeah.
Like, dude, you knew it was going to snow. Like, why are you not prepared? And we prepare for the worst every time. And if it misses us, well, that kind of sucks, right? We got a bunch of time wrapped up in starting equipment and running through it. I'd rather be prepared than I hate to be caught off guard.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're like, well, I don't think it's going to hit us tonight. It looks like it's going north, and it moves down a little bit. Next, you know, we got 6 inches of snow, and we're freaking scrambling, and that sucks.
Well,
you know, we call all of our guys ahead of time. If you've got guys that work for you, we call them the day ahead and say, hey, Mike, Joe, Jim, looks like we're getting snow tonight. Everybody going to be prepared. Get some rest. Get some hot chocolate. Looks like we're going to go around 10, maybe midnight. We don't know yet. Are you good? And the guy says, you know what? I'm not good. I don't have daycare tomorrow. Okay. All right. What is your, we, instead of finding out at 10 o'clock, you call that guy and he's like, oh, I can't work tonight. You're like, well, I got a truck sitting, bud. You know, and so again, if you got 3 guys or 30 guys or 100 guys, we call every single person and say, hey, it looks like we got snow. Are you good to go? Make sure your ringer's on. And we call them ahead of time too, you know, and say, all right, it's 9 o'clock. We're going at midnight. Here's where we're meeting. And just, you know, we're not calling at 11:30 saying I need you in 30 minutes. Cause you know, then you got to remember guys got to get ready, guy or gal, they got to get all their gear on. Now they got to get out of their driveway. The commute to our shop in a snowstorm might take 45 minutes to an hour, you know, because now they're going 20 miles an hour down an unplowed road at midnight. So just, man, you just got to be prepared. You know, we've even had people come in literally before we start plowing. I mean, they'll sit around the shop for an hour before it's go time. Yeah. You know, it's like, okay, we're going at midnight, be here at 11. And, you know, and so just, you know, thinking ahead, I just don't like when guys aren't prepared. I've called guys and they're sitting in a bar like, oh, I think it's going to miss us. It's not. Have you looked outside?
Wow.
Why, you know, you're drinking? We got to plow snow.
Well, he's drinking.
You know,
he's drinking because he saw that his 12 inches coming. He's like, man, I'm screwed. You know. No, I was kidding.
Yeah. Well, you know, those are the rookie mistakes that we've made, and we've made them before too. Where like, you know, we just weren't prepared, and all of a sudden that 2-inch snow turns into a 10-inch snow, or that one that was going to go north of you doesn't. And you know, we're all out there freezing our ass off trying to hook plows up at midnight. That is no freaking fun.
I've been there, man. And if things are going to break down, Murphy's Law, man, when's it going to happen? Right when you need it. And you're like, oh man, like the plow pins, you know, the 13-pin controller on the bosses or whatever. Like, oh man, there's ice in here and there's water in here. How is that even a thing? And you know, of course it's frozen. It's frozen closed, and you're like banging it. It's 2 a.m. You're like, why is this not hooked up to my truck? Like, dude, Kory, I love what you said. I mean, like, you know, I definitely am not talking like at you. I'm listening. Like, I'm like, Kory, teach us the game, you know, cause I got 3 years in. What do I know? We've done pretty well with snow. I'll knock on wood. I'll say that. I've got some pretty good people in my corner, but I want to get Kory on the show to, you know, learn from his perspective. These guys are top 25, top 30 doing snow in, you know, not only their state, but North America. Like that's huge. And one thing, Kory, I'll say like simple, like owner operator stuff. Like a lot of you guys watching, and listening in know that I have my guy, Rob. Rob's, one of my cousins, great dude. He's becoming my foreman and, just a great guy. I mean, one of the most loyal dudes, ever. And I told Rob, well, where we're going to build our home, it's about 10 minutes from his house. And when we have a nicer home, I said, Rob, like, you're more than welcome to spend the night before at our house and just hang out. Like, we'd love to host, spend the night. You're here. I know you're good to go. Might be a little weird, but dude, spend the night. At least I know you don't have to drive in the snow to get to the shop, to my barn, and to our house, right? But we're still offering that right now to Rob because he's got a critter car. And we're working on getting him potentially a truck next year because I want to invest in my guys and grow the company a little bit. But I told Rob, I'm like, hey, dude, if we're going to get an 8-inch snowstorm, he's got a rear-wheel drive Charger. I mean, you know, it's his first car. He's a 20-year-old kid, right? So I said, Rob, why don't you spend the night before? We'll load up here. Liz can make breakfast, you know, 2 a.m., 9 a.m., whatever it is. But, you know, spend the night, you know, and that might be weird, but you know what? It works. It works for our company. I know Rob's going to be ready to rock and roll. I know he's not going to be in a ditch somewhere. I know I don't have to go get him. And it's just like you said, we're already having these conversations and these contingencies in October. You know, what are we going to do December 10th when the first event comes, right? And Kory, I love what you said about being prepared. Like, you cut grass, that's one thing. If you go sharpen your blades in the morning, or you forgot to fuel up the night before and you got to go fuel up in the morning, you can do that. It's going to cost you 25 minutes, but you can do that. In snow, you cannot do that. You cannot wait till the last minute to get ready for snow. By then, it's already too late, and it's Armageddon. You know what I mean? So,
And that's a good point too. We put a lot of guys in hotels sometimes. We have some guys that drive 35, 40 minutes into our shop. And if we've got a blizzard, there's been guys sleeping on the floor, but we've literally paid for people to, go grab a room and
sure.
And sleep and just be safe. Cause they're like, man, if I go home, I don't know if I can get back, and they don't follow this county road. And,
yep.
You've got to really treat your snow people well. And, we pay our snow people, top dollar. We pay, all of our guys really, really well. We have to make it worth their while. And guys always ask, what do you pay us guys? We pay our shovelers, as much as we pay our operators on machinery. And people are like, well, it's a different skill. I'm like, yeah, but you want to ask a guy to shovel snow for 15 to 20 hours straight, you better pay him well. And so, we pay our guys that shovel, the same as we pay a skid loader operator, because, a guy in the skid's got music and he's got heat and he's in a t-shirt and he's, running a piece of machinery. Now, certainly got some accountability there. And, there's some damage that can be done if he's not a good operator, but, we pay those sidewalk guys just as well. And I can tell you, when we do that, we have people begging to, when it snows, we got guys that are like, hey, I got 6 buddies that want to do walks. Like, bring them in.
Yep.
We're going to pay them $22, $24 an hour to shovel, run snow blowers, whatever that looks like. You've got to make it pretty lucrative for those guys, and you got to make sure they're obviously wearing the right gear and make sure they're going to be safe when they're out there. I've had people show up in tennis shoes, to plow, to shovel.
Sure.
So we keep extra gloves, extra stocking caps. We try to make sure that, like, you don't have a stocking cap? Like, no, I don't have one. Like, here's a stocking cap. It costs us $6, right, or $8. Here's a stocking cap. Let's go. And,
I love it.
So just make sure you're setting your guys up right. And again, it just goes back to being prepared. This is one business that is just tougher than most, and it is a tough business, and you've got to be prepared. And it starts with contract. It starts with your equipment. Make sure you got your people in line. Make sure you're communicating with your customers. Make sure you're communicating with your guys, and make sure you're making money. If you're not making money, man, stay home and drink your coffee and look outside and make a snowman with the kids, man. If you're not going to make any money, just stay home, go sled.
Sure. Well, I always joke, Kory, if we didn't make the money we made, there's no way I would do snow plowing. Like, straight up. Like,
no, it's miserable.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Yeah. It's like, I'm like banging up a $60,000 truck, which it's a tool. Well, you should have got a $30,000 truck. Yeah. It's all the same. You guys know what I'm saying. You're banging up a truck. You're banging up a plow. I'm finding Kirby. My wife always laughs. She's like, "Oh, found Kirby today." It's my friend, Kory. My friend is Kirby. It's the curb. She's like, "Oh, you found?" She's like, "Oh, did you know that Kirby was playing over there in that snow pile?" I'm like, "Shut up," But we keep it. I bring Liz with me. She's pure fun, pure joy, pure entertainment. Everything I'm not. She's the giggles, So she comes out for 8 hours, and we just laugh. I'm like hanging out with my best friend, and that's what we do, and that's how we keep it going. And we'll stop and get Taco Bell at 3 a.m. Hell, half the time, these restaurants aren't even plowed, and I'll go do an Arby's and like, hey, you guys want like 6 roast beef sandwiches? I'm like, yeah, hello. And I'm not saying you should do that, but we've done that. And so
yeah, I've had Lindsay with me before. She's like, hey, I want to go with you. This will be fun. I don't run a truck anymore. Sometimes I'll jump in a wheel loader because I really like these big wheel loaders. These cats are amazing.
Sure.
It's like playing a video game. But she used to go, she said, I want to go with you. And then 4 hours into it, she's like, yeah,
I'm done.
Let you drop me off.
That's funny right there. It's funny. Liz will stick with me for the commercials, but then when it's the residential and I got to hop in and out and get the porch and the garage, she's like, yeah. She's like, you want to just swing back by the house? I go, we're on a time frame here, woman. I can't be dropping you. She's like, I want to get out. I'm done. I'm like, all right, fine. So we'll do a video, have some fun, and then usually I go out there for another 6 hours, pound it out, and it's really cool though. My girl will always stay up for me. It's really special, and I appreciate that. I'm like, why didn't you go to bed? It's like 7 a.m. I've been out literally 12 hours straight, and we didn't sleep the night before. And she's like, I just wanted to, I'm praying for you. I love you. I'm like, oh my gosh, like best wife ever award, So, all right, well, dude, this is, we're well over an hour. I'm already taking way too much of your time. You're a very, very, busy person, and we really appreciate you taking your time to pour it out on the show. It doesn't go unnoticed. I love what you said about training and education. You got to know what you're doing. We've got launchpreneuracademy.com, that snow plow program, great resource. Definitely landscaper, guys, if you need contracts. I'm going to throw something out there. I very rarely would encourage you guys to sign somebody else's contracts. Have your contracts, because contracts are written to protect the people who made them. And so very, very rarely, a little nod there from Kory, but I very rarely would tell you guys to sign other people's contracts. Get the contracts from Debt Free Landscaper, make them your own, have your corporate attorney read them over if you need to. But don't sign Chipotle's contracts. Don't sign, some other property management company's contracts. They're not usually in your favor. Just throwing that out there.
Hey, Brian, just one thing on that, though. Sometimes you have to, and if you do that, guys, just make sure you have somebody look them over. We have to sign a lot of contracts for other people.
Yep.
And we go through and we will, we'll red line some things in there. So sometimes you might have to, if you're doing maybe you're doing a hotel and they've got a chain and they have a corporate contract.
Sure.
Not always a bad thing, but it's written in their best interest, to your exact point. It is written to protect them.
Yep.
So, that's where you have somebody read through that and say, you know what, Brian, I don't think this is in your favor. It says here that you're responsible for everything. And it's like, oh, I'm not. And then you have to, that's where you go back and, you can red line it or make sure you have those conversations.
Great point.
You make sure, again, are you willing to take that risk? The value might be worth the risk. But guys get this contract. They're excited. It's $25,000 for this strip mall, and they just sign it, and then they don't read the fine print. And it's like, shit, I'm way more responsible than I realized.
Yep.
And so just if you're gonna sign someone else's contract, hand it off. A good attorney will do it in 1 hour. It might cost you $300. Well worth it. Or if you've got somebody in your office, or maybe you're technical enough to read through them. I'm not. I don't read the fine print very well, but
sure.
Definitely do that. The other thing also for education, Brian, is, the ASCA guys they got a ton of resources on there as well. They've got training courses. They'll teach you about different ice melts and brines, and just, there's a ton of resources out there. If you don't know, just educate yourself. And a lot of that stuff's free, and you can get it. You can get it for free or very minimal. And you can learn a ton. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can also go subcontract for another guy for a year. If you got your first truck and plow, you can go, get a buddy, maybe a guy's got a lot of snow, and you say, hey, the first year I want to push for you. Go out and push for him. See how he does it. Get some experience. Learn what you're doing. In the second year, you can go after your own contract. So there's always get out there and get paid to learn on somebody else's time, and he's going to pay you after each event or however you set it up, and you'll have less risk that way as well. And there's some benefits to, we have some big companies that subcontract for us, and they love it. They don't have to do the work, and we have people that have 30, 40 pieces of equipment that subcontract for us, and it works out, for both of us. It's a win-win. They make great money. We make our cut on it. We manage it well. And so there's a lot of opportunity out there. Just don't go getting crazy if you don't know exactly what you're getting into. And
sure.
So it's just because you can cut grass and landscape doesn't mean, snow is a different industry, and you just got to be prepared.
I like it. I'm learning. I'm taking notes, man. I love what you said about giving it to somebody that knows contracts. For me, that's my friend Mike Lippinell. He's my sort of corporate attorney, but he's Mr. Details. The devil's in the details, they say. And absolutely, great point. That conversation sparked from somebody who I was just talking to the other day, and they were going through a subcontract, a property management company that was subbing these guys out, and we were looking through his contract, and I'm like, dude, this is no way in any shape or form. The payment terms, Kory, were like 90 days out, and I'm like, I'm like, hey, if you want to wait to get paid 90 days from your snow in April, sure, that's okay, go for it. See if you can button that up to like 60 days or 30 or 45 for crying out loud. But great point what you're saying. I'm learning. I love what you said there. Any last things that you want to drop nuggets on these guys? You guys could listen to this podcast 2 or 3 different times, guys, and get a new nugget every time. So Kory, anything else that you want to leave these guys while we're talking snow? Between now and December, we could probably even do another episode. But this has been really, really good. So open mic, any last things you got for these guys?
Not really. I think we covered a lot of stuff today. Again, just, get out there early. One thing we do, we take site photos before we plow. So, guys, if you're doing commercial,
I like that.
We video. So let's say you're doing a Holiday Inn Express. I don't know why it came to my mind, but we video the site. That way, next spring when they say, hey, Brian, you tore up 3 curbs, you go, you know what, Sally, we didn't actually. Let me show you the video from November 12th when we walked the site. And so, get out and video some of your commercial sites, get your snow stakes out, make some maps if you need to. Just get prepared. Video literally it doesn't take very long to walk a small site, guys. We video every site. We save them. But I can tell you it saves our butt a lot. They come back and say, hey, you guys tore up this whole section of curbs. And we're like, no, those were all broken preseason. And, so just be prepared, have good conversations, know what expectations are, and have it in writing. It's not 1965. We can't, handshake deals aren't good anymore. It's just different, man. Business has changed and everybody wants to sue everybody. And, just know the expectations and outline them clearly. And it protects both parties. And, we always talk, we want to protect the client as well. We want to make sure that we protect everybody involved. And so, get out there and make some money doing snow, do it right, be safe. And, that's all I got.
Dude, I love it, man. This has been good. We're just kicking. We had no notes. We're just BSing back and forth. Kory, last thing I'll say, and we'll butt it up. It's funny you just said about taking photos. I take video of all my parking lots because of YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So, but for the rest of us, for the rest of you guys, for real, I always say leaf cleanups, man. Snap photos before you leave the property with leaf cleanup, because customer comes home 3 hours later and 10% of the leaves back on the lawn. They're like, dude, you left this place, looking crappy. And you can send them a photo, be like, nope, it was spotless just a day ago or 2 hours ago. I love what you said about doing that with snow. Same thing. Actually, it's a true story. I was doing that Sherwin-Williams strip mall. A lot of you guys see it's one of our commercial accounts. And those like handicap signs, the whole yellow post, Kory? I came there one day. I swear to God, it was not only knocked over, but it was missing. It was like gone. And then one of the curbs was smashed up. And I go, dude, there's nobody else that's been on this property, for a snowplow guy. And so I emailed our girl, this property management company that we work for. And I was like, hey, that's not us. It's gone. Like, it wasn't even here when I got here. And I see like streak marks, like somebody clearly backed into it. And, but I wasn't going to get responsible for that thing. That's probably $900 for that post and a smashed up curb. So love what you said there. Man, if Kory's talking, we're learning, right, guys? So, in fact, here's what we'll do is we button it up. If you guys want to hear more from Kory, Launchpreneur Academy Live, we got the show coming up in just 2 weeks. Kory, actually today it was sold out. So we're super excited about having you in. If you guys got your tickets there, you're going to hear Kory just roll for about another 35 to 45 minutes. I know he's excited about bringing the heat. So, Kory, next time I catch up with you, we'll probably see you up here in Michigan here in November, brother.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Just actually talked to a couple guys today that were ordering stuff from us, and they one guy was from Michigan, and the other guy I think was from maybe Ohio, and they both said, "Hey, like, I can't believe you took the phone call." And they're like, You're talking, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna be there. So yeah, it seems like I've talked to a lot of guys that are going, and we're excited to come up and talk to everybody. I love networking. I love talking business with guys, and we're looking forward to it, Brian. So we'll be up there, and if you guys need to find anything that we've got going on, ballard-inc.com, or we've got 2 Instagram accounts. Don't ask me why. It's just a long story.
Sure.
But, you can find us on Instagram, or we've got a podcast called The Green Grind, where we try to bring on good guests on there as well. And
heck yeah,
this podcast work is harder than I thought. So keep doing what you're doing, Brian.
Thanks, man.
I'm always like, God, we got to do another one. Like, how do you do one three a week? I don't got time for this.
Hey, man. There's always a bigger fish, because Paul Jameson's doing 5 days a week on the Green Industry Podcast. I'm like, doesn't this guy have a job? No, I'm just kidding. But there's always somebody that we're always pointing to. Well, it's funny for the live event, Kory. Just so everybody knows, Kory's speaking. But I was joking with Kory when I asked him. I invited him in a couple months ago. He's like, "You want me to speak?" I was like, "Honestly, we just want to have Lindsay speak, but you can speak too if you want. Like, we know she's the brains of the operation." So you're like, actually, she get up there and roll. You're like, I don't know if people can hold what Lindsay can bring out. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. And then I used the same joke on Caleb Allman with Caleb and Brittany Allman. Caleb's like, "You want me to come in to speak?" I was like, well, honestly, I wanted to invite your wife, but I didn't want to make it awkward. So you can come talk too, So I'm just having some fun.
Right, well, Lindsay's coming. She's going to be up there, but I'll do my best. We're going to talk about, building a team, building culture, and how to, recruit, retain, and just really talk about, how do you invest in your people and get them to invest in you? And I think
it's huge.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's going to be some great people up there. We're looking forward to it. So,
Heck yeah,
Brian, I appreciate you having me on, and we'll definitely talk soon, buddy.
All right, brother. Well, guys, that's it for this episode of Fullerton Unfiltered, and appreciate you guys so much for leaving those all important 5-star ratings and reviews, and just kicking it with us for an hour and a half. No agenda here, just trying to help you guys out as you grow your snow plowing and snow removal business. So, all right, well, that's it from me, guys. Let's kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer, and we'll catch up with you guys on the next one.
Lots of talk about the white gold on today's show, which is why I'm encouraging you to grab Brian's Get Started Plowing Snow program. What you're going to receive is a full hour-long explainer video talking about numbers, formulas, rates, how to properly charge for snow, plus a full equipment walkthrough on all the gear needed to start in the business, including talking about plows, trucks, snow blowers, and a lot more. This is cool. You actually get to ride along via video as Brian tackles 2 job sites. It includes full instructions. You'll visit a residential site, also a commercial job site as well, teaching you how to plow that snow and make that dough. And by now, you know it's waiting for you at lawntrepreneuracademy.com. And remember the promo code podcast to save 10%.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.